Thank you, Madam President, and thanks to Herr Becker, and congratulations to him on leading this process so ably and energetically, and I can assure him on our part that we'll be very keen to collaborate constructively going forward, as we have done up until now. There has been a lot of agreement on what can be a constructive proposal. It's not going to solve the problem of unemployment or exploitation, but it can be a step in the right direction. On a very general level, one of the things that has surprised me in studying this proposal is the lack which it has revealed in existing European law of core definitions that one would have thought were quite central to the work that we do a lot of the time on the Employment Committee. There is no definition in European law of work, or a worker, or a trainee, or an intern, and it strikes me going forward that that's something that perhaps we want to look at for our work more generally. How can we legislate using terms that don't actually mean anything? And I'll come on a little bit into how that affects this proposal in the specifics later on. Another general point, this whole framework rests on the efficacy or otherwise of public employment services in member states, but it doesn't treat at all that efficacy. It doesn't seek to measure it, to foster it, to hold it to account in any way. And that, again, I think is something that if we are serious about making more progress in these areas, we do need to look at the European Union level. In more detail, I tabled 54 of the 699 amendments. I'm not going to talk to my own amendments now. I know that you were all up late last night poring over them, and you will have formed your own views. I'm going to take this short time, in which case, just to ask a few questions about other people's amendments, which we were up late last night poring over, and of which we have formed our own views. First, just on traineeships and internships. Amendment 306 from the EPP. I'd just like to ask Herr Beck and EPP colleagues, how can we and how do they envisage that we guarantee that trainees offered work under this system would have the same full rights as an employee? And similarly, Amendment 192, it would be useful to hear from ALDE colleagues when they say that the rules governing traineeships and internships should be determined in the context of European law, quote. What does that mean? There is no European law that governs the traineeships and internships. The concepts of traineeships and internships don't even exist in European law. Obviously, one doesn't want anybody to be excluded from this process, but we also don't want young people to be deceived or exploited by it. On the concept, which is quite a key concept in the proposal of partners and members, it's still not clear to me that the distinction made by other political groups on EURES partners and EURES members. Amendment 208 from the ECR substitutes EURES members with national coordination officers, but this goes against the scope of the legislation. It doesn't make sense like that. I'm not sure that it's not a very political distinction at all, but in mechanical terms, if we're to construct a piece of legislation that works, then this has to be clear and coherent and right, and I don't think it is at the moment. On fees, the GUE amendment seems to keep fees on services to be provided for workers and employers, which most of us from across the rest of the spectrum have agreed wasn't in the spirit or the practice of what we want to see from this legislation. So if the GUE could explain to us why they want to charge for these services, that would be very useful. Finally, just like to say on Article 14, Article 14 is for me the central article of the whole document. It's the article which requires member states to put all their PES vacancies on the portal. We've tabled amendments to which Rebecca referred in broadly approving terms, which is very positive. And just to be clear in conclusion, that currently this is a system that doesn't work because there are 1 million vacancies advertised from the UK, 650,000 from Germany, 8,000 from Italy, 50,000 from France. That's not a level, balanced European system, and it's not one which fosters good fraternal and sororal relations between member states. It's actually a problem. So it's very important that we get this right. Thank you.
Thank you.